Make sure to be a member on the channel, link is in the description. Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. We had the changes in the BRs last week, and one of the aircraft that actually was changed was the English Electric Lightning, the F6 variant of the EEL or the EU. And yeah, the only version that we have of this aircraft, an amazing aircraft. It really is such an amazing aircraft for the time. Began production, or the introduction of the aircraft was around 1956. So yeah, it is really old and close to most of the aircraft that were developed back in the day, back in the middle of the 50s. Of course, is very similar to the performance of them, like the MiG-19 and the initial F-104s, MiG-21s, stuff like that. But it is kind of like I don't think it's better than the MiG-19, but it is very similar in some aspects. But it loses a lot in other ones, and it is better in some areas as well, like the maximum speed. Of course, it is Mach 2 capable or close to that. And yeah, it is just a very very fast aircraft. The idea behind this, basically an aircraft to it wasn't built for this, but the objective was to be like the Javelin and to surpass the Javelin, and the Javelin being added in the Royal Air Force like 1 year earlier than the Lightning. So yeah, it gives some perspective on how the Javelin was actually very limited in performance sometimes. But yeah, a very capable aircraft. Was supposed to be an interceptor, only one crew. A very capable raider for the time, and in game you can see that it's very good raider with PVR and stuff, and pretty cool. And some missiles, of course, the red tops and the fire streaks. But the fire streaks are the earlier missile that you get, and then you get the red tops, which is a lot better than the normal missiles that you get in this BR. Way better than the A9B. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But the range on those are limited, so you have to be careful. Having the cannons as well, the well-known Aiden cannons, the cannons on the Hunter, for example, and the Harrier and other aircraft. Very limited cannon sometimes, to be honest. A revolver cannon, very limited range and very slow muzzle velocity, very kind of slow fire rate. So yeah, you don't have a lot of ammo as well, and they're kind of hard to hit sometimes. But they are very like a close range combat, really close range, less than 500 meters. It's a good weapon. Beyond that, it's kind of hard to hit. But yeah, but yeah, the main objective of it is to intercept people. So it has the radars, it has the missiles, and you're going to see in the gameplay that I am putting on the screen right now is that I normally use as an interceptor. So yeah, the red tops really help to get kills early in the game. And yeah, especially with the engines. I have to talk about the engines. Of course, the Avon Mark 302s. They are amazing engines. They are really strong engines. Remember that they have 74 kilonewtons of force with the afterburner, each one of them. So it is like twice as much horsepower as thrust, I mean, as a MiG-21. And if you get the early variants of the MiG-21, is almost like 3 times, counting the 2 engines. So it is a very strong aircraft, and this will be basically the only thing that you actually are good in doing it. The aircraft itself, it doesn't turn very well, especially beyond like 800 kilometers per hour, and it has some weird performance in the rudder that makes you kind of lose a lot of energy sometimes, or lose some easy shots that you should have gotten if it was another aircraft. So it is a very weird aircraft and very clunky aircraft. It's like an F4 but worse, in that manner. In the way that it feels, it's very sluggish, and at medium speeds, like there is a window like at 600 or maybe even 700 to 800 that you can actually turn a lot, but it loses a lot of speed doing that because the wings are almost a delta wing. And once you drop the speed, you know, it becomes beyond that, you know, it just becomes a lot sluggish than it was before. So it is kind of those aircraft that you have to fly like a boom and zoom type of thing, you know. It is an interceptor, so keep your speed, and this is basically the only advantage that you're going to have, basically, you know. Why am I saying this? If this aircraft is 9.3, you ask me? Because it doesn't change much, to be honest. They changed it from the 9.7 BR to 9.3, and it didn't change much. For a 9.3 aircraft, if you're going to compare like a Sabre 9.3 or an A4 that is 9.3 or anything like that, or you know, compared to the Lightning will just destroy it. But the thing is, matchmaking and battle ratings are not decided 1v1 against that aircraft. You know, they're decided by statistics, analysis from the normal matches with a lot of aircraft and doing a lot of stuff at the same time. You know, so it becomes weird to see an aircraft like this at 9.3. And for example, the MiG-21s, there are some variants of it that are 9.3 as well, or 9.7 for the MiG-19 even. But it's just that there's a lot of factors in it, and the performance of it was not very good, so they put it in 9.3. Doesn't change the fact that it's not a 9.3 material aircraft if you compare to the normal 9.3s that we have, but it's the same as the MiG-21 F-13. I mean, it's just the only thing that this aircraft has is the performance, you know, of the engines, the straight line speed and the acceleration of it. So it kind of becomes kind of known to be OP. But the thing is, it becomes an aircraft that you can actually choose when the engagement will happen. So when you think about that, normally it becomes kind of an OP machine if it's in the right hands, you know. Just because, you know, if you can choose when the target is going to be hit, you can actually destroy it on your way, you know, when it's the best possible time for you to kill the enemy. So the thing is, when you are flying it and you face this normally slower aircraft at 9.3, you have to be smart about it. Don't get too cocky with this aircraft, because you can get too cocky. Try to limit your dives beyond 1,000 meters. Trust me, it's really easy to overcompress this aircraft in a dive and just kill yourself. You know, just crashing to the ground. So you have to be careful with that. And yeah, it's just a rock, a flying brick. This aircraft is not meant to be turning around a lot, and it is a 1950s interceptor. It is the same principle as kind of like the F4, like 10 years, or not even 10 years, but like 6 years later, you know. So you have to treat it like that. Still one of the most amazing aircraft in this BR, but there is one limiting factor for this, and why it didn't change much from 9.7 to 9.3 that I was talking about earlier. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it's 90%, but it's really close to that. But 90% of the matches that you face, they are up tiers. So you're facing a lot of MiG-21 MFs, a lot of F4s, a lot of F-104s, a lot of A5s. It's one of the worst aircraft to actually face, just because of the magics, you know. If he gets to your 6, you are basically dead. So yeah, it's really problematic. It's really problematic sometimes, you know. So that's the fact that doesn't change much. The way that you fly and stuff. I'm not gonna fly low with this, because the maximum speed of this aircraft is, it's not low for this BR. It's like 1,324, I think, for a wing to break. But still, like, I wouldn't fly that low just because you can crash and compress, and this aircraft is not meant to be flying low, you know. So try to get very high altitude and get people that are flying high, but be careful with the A5s. They climb a lot. I mean, they are basically a MiG-19, so they climb a lot. Be careful with F4. Sometimes can be a kind of a pain. The F4C, of course, because they have the AIM-7s and you don't have an RWR, so they can get you by surprise, even though it's the bad AIM-7s. But if the guy knows what he's doing, you can get killed by that a lot. And yeah, it's like a 880 situation, you know. It's all or nothing on this aircraft, because honestly, in down tiers against Sabres and MiG-15s, it can dominate. It can really dominate, just because you can choose when to attack and just maintain your energy. It has a very good fuel consumption, so even though it carries only 20 minutes, the consumption is pretty good with the afterburners. So you can end up being a lot in the battle, just trying to choose what targets are the best for you to attack. To be honest, the best way to actually kill enemies is using the missiles and not the cannons. I find it that the cannons are pretty hard to hit sometimes in this type of target. But yeah, you face a lot of A10s, for example, which can be a very bad problem if you're not careful, because of the M9Ls, that you don't have a flare to turn, and you cannot out-turn an M9L with a lightning. So it is a complicated aircraft. I understand why they lowered the BR of it. The performance is very amazing and has everything to be amazing. It's like the MiG-21 F-13 and the PFM and even the MiG-19s. They have everything to be the most amazing aircraft in that BR, but because they face F4s and A5s and SPSs and even the MiG-21S, man, I got killed like 3 times trying to dodge the R3Rs, because they are kind of smart, and if you're not careful, they are using it really close range, so you can end up dying, you know. So yeah, remember that, guys. And I think it's not OP, really not OP, and it's really amazing. It's a very fun aircraft to fly, very different from other aircraft. It's sluggish, but not in an F-104 way. You know, it's really sluggish. It's weird to turn and weird to get easy shots and stuff, and there's very limited ammo. And as I said, the missiles are pretty good, man. It's like 16 Gs. You can get a lot of good kills. You can slave to the radar, and you can even get kind of an off-course shoot, you know, shot. But they have like 2-kilometer range. Beyond that, it's just very limited, and it has a very limited all aspect range as well, which helps sometimes with side aspect shots, but normally against just F4s and stuff that produces a lot of heat. But against the head-on, it would be like less than 1 kilometer, so it's not really all aspect, but it is kind of, you know. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, a funny aircraft, but very cool. Make sure to take a look on that at 9.3. It is very interesting to fly, but as I said, the BRs are pretty, normally you face more advanced aircraft than yours. But I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe and click the like button and click on the little bell icon, and I see you guys on the next one. So yeah, bye guys, see ya.